Well, Merry Christmas, Collective. Happy holidays. Wonderful winter solstice, Yule, whatever it is that you believe or don't believe or celebrate. I wish that you all have a wonderful time off. No, nothing else. Just enjoy your time off. But hopefully you're spending with people that you love and surrounding yourself with people that you can trust and that, love you back. Um, I got some messages. That's why I'm here. Unfortunately, it seems like every practitioner has their own niche, and by that I mean they have things that they specialize in, or it seems as though those are the messages they get the most. Some get, love messages all the time. Others get very intense, passionate sexual ones. Others get, strictly for, job and things of that nature. I mean, not every day is the same, of course, but it looks like certain people have certain things that they speak of more than others. And for me, it appears as though I have a niche that speaks about Karmicville. I wish it wasn't so, but it could be because I've gone through so much of it myself in my life that it just it's something that's very close to me, or whatever the case may be. I mean, even though I don't talk or speak or really, find myself involved with all of that anymore, they have a lot of energy, and they involve themselves with me and apparently others within the collective. So for the handful of people out there who seem to have this type of thing following you around everywhere you go to, I fully understand what it's like. Even doing the most you can to be helpful, kind, considerate, and just being a good human being for the most part, it seems to have a magnetic attraction to those that, for whatever reason, just have an unhealthy attachment or desire to destroy you just because of that. As they say in the realms of, any type of divination that I've seen, basically, sometimes certain people irritate the demons in others, for lack of a better way of putting it. Alright, so with that being said, this first reading is definitely one more of the karmic side of the house. In fact, every one of the runes, except for the overall weekly energy, which continues until, the end of Saturday, is that of Sawillo. And Sawillo, of course, is a very powerful rune. Looks like a lightning bolt, or the Nazi SS. They stole it, more or less, implemented into their own agenda. But Sawillo is like the sun card, if you will, in tarot. It talks about that very thing: sun, victory, clarity, honor, achievements, your goals being achieved, success, the life force. It talks about victory. It talks about power being available to you to make positive changes in your life. It's anything and everything that is positive. Your health, your wealth, your well-being, relationships. Everything that's good, basically, is what Sawillo stands for. And that's the overall energy of the week. Now, unfortunately, the days themselves throughout the week are going to have, as always, they're going to have sometimes hurdles that we have to get over, or what we would call ordinarily, without really thinking about it. And understanding what that means is a good day versus a bad day. All days are there for us to potentially grow. Sometimes growth only comes about through difficulties or hardships, things that hurt sometimes, pain. No pain, no gain. You've heard the saying, we've all heard it. And it's not true in every case, but in terms of growth, there is a certain amount of truth to it. I mean, we come into this world kicking and screaming, and for people like me, we probably leave it the same way, kicking and screaming. We try to take as many people with us as possible. Of course, I'm just playing, but you know what I mean. All right. But anyway, our past energy, or the energy I pulled on Sunday for today, was Esau, and Esau in the reverse. Now, it looks like a letter I, so it looks the same, upright or reversed, but this one is actually in the reverse. And what it stands for is a breach of loyalty, egomania, dullness. It talks about blindness, treachery, dissipation of one's energy, illusions and deceptions. It talks about betrayal, plans, thoughts, schemes, things of that nature. And according to the rest of the energy that I did pull for today, that is pretty accurate for the energy that we're seeing. Now the present energy is Radho, but Radho too is in the reverse. Now Radho ordinarily is basically the blessed journey. Now, as you can imagine, in the reverse, it's everything contradicting that particular aspect. So upsets of plans and delays, unexpected versus, planned travel, crises, feeling lost in our movements and so on, static or stasis, injustices, irrationality, disruptions, being dislocated from a place, demotion. Maybe you got demoted at work, unfortunately. Delusions, and unfortunately, here we go again, the possibility of death. I don't know how many months now we've been talking about this. So, and again, death can mean the death of a cycle, but when it's all negative like this, it more or less implies something a little closer to what we all understand in terms of that word. And again, it's not something that I feel good about talking about, especially on this particular day, but I have to go with the energy that comes out. And I've got 3 other readings I've done too. I did 2 yesterday and 2 today, so this was one of the ones I did for yesterday. I just didn't post it yet. Now, the obstacles is Ewas. Now, Ewas in the reverse basically talks about, again, stagnation, not able to move, just like the previous rune, Radho in the reverse, an undoing of some type, inactivity or tension, confusion, destruction and dissatisfaction, feeling weak or weakness due to illness. So, again, a lot of the energy that those who, again, we typically would label as being karmic, or those who are in very low vibrational energy. And that could be because of a host of different addictions or anger, whatever the case may be. It could be a host of things. Just think of the 7 deadly sins, and you can expand on that into subcategories of negative energy. And anybody basically that's in that energy more than just infrequently fit this particular description as far as karmic. We all have good and bad days, but if you know people who are really like this, even though if they try to put up a veneer ordinarily to other people, they may have other people completely fooled, by the way. Some of these karmics are extremely narcissistic, and some of them are suffering from psychological illnesses such as borderline personality or bipolar disorder. So, just like, and I don't want to liken them to being serial killers, but many of them are higher than normal in terms of their intelligence. And even though they don't feel the empathy or a lot of the emotions that most people do, they have mastered the ability to mimic outwardly what those emotions look like, so they can fool people into believing they're one thing when in fact they may be completely opposite of that. But if your gut tells you something about somebody, for example, that fits the categories of karmic that I have laid out and talked about many times, over the last several months, go with that. Trust your gut. Again, that's about learning how to be intuitive and psychic. You have to trust your instincts. Start putting them into practice daily. All right. So that's the obstacles. Now, the help and advice we got was Kanaz, and that's hard to see because I had to scratch this one in this stone with my knife. So, now, Kanaz, basically in the reverse, talks about termination of something or someone, and again, facing up to one's death. So, again, I am truly sorry if somebody out there that's watching this, and obviously I have people that are cross-watchers who do, or those who might be in this karmic energy. This is either for you or somebody that you know that is experiencing this. Maybe they're suffering from an illness and they just don't want other people to know, because disease is also part of this descriptor for this particular runic energy. Talks about breakups, instability, lack of creativity as well, feeling naked and exposed because the things that you've done in secret are now being revealed. And again, that's biblical, and we find that particular universal law also found in at least the religious texts that I'm familiar with. And I own all of them. So for the most part, well, except for, the text about Zoroastrianism. I've read about that particular religious faith, but I don't have any of the textual manuscripts on that particular faith. And that's the oldest monotheistic religion still practiced to this day. But as far as all the big religions and a lot of the smaller ones, I do have a lot of literature on that stuff. And we do find similarities, on many subjects. Of course, there's a lot of disparity and differences in cultural, differences as well in their explanation of things. But when you take all things into consideration, you look at it, you do see similarities. You can make parallels. Anyways, I digress. So that's the help and advice. It tells us basically in advance of what is or may be coming in the very near future for those who are watching that may be in that karmic energy. A death is definitely a part of that. And again, I'm sorry for that. It's a harsh thing I have to say on Christmas Day, but now the future outcome was Berkana, and that too is in the reverse. Now Berkana is basically the rune for the great mother or birch goddess, Birchta. That's just one of several names. It's just like Odin. When you translate some of these languages, they'll have a different, sound and so on, or pronunciation for English, like Wooten and Wooden and Odin and so on. Those are all the same, but they have different pronunciations, and there's others as well, and that goes for all of these. So we lose some of the meaning, perhaps, in the translations from one language into another, but we do get the gist or the overall energy of these runes. So what does Berkana in the reverse talk about? Family problems, family needs, anxiety about somebody close to you or somebody in your family, domestic troubles, not your blood family, but the one you've chosen outside of your family, anxiety, as I stated, with people that are close to you, sense of carelessness and abandon, loss of control, and that could be with your use of words, expressing emotions, with saying things before thinking, not pausing before sharing how you feel about something. Maybe you said some pretty harsh things, I don't know. But talks about the blurring of consciousness as well, deception, Sterility and stagnation. We've seen stagnation at least 3 times just in this reading alone. So if somebody's feeling as though they just simply cannot move forward, they can't move on from whatever it is that's holding them back. And if sterility is also an issue for you, again, you have my sympathies, especially if you are trying to have a child and found that you cannot. That's harsh for some people. Some people, they get pregnant just looking at, you know. So, and it's just the way things seem to work sometimes when you're not trying to procreate and create an individual and you're being careless, it ends up happening. For those who really want one and are trying and are doing everything right, sometimes it just seems elusive. So I think it's just a matter of if it's meant to be, it will be. And I know that's a hard thing to hear, especially if you were one of those people that fall into the latter category and you're looking to have a child, desire to have a child, but cannot. There are other options if that is truly your desire. And adoption, of course, is one of those. There's millions of kids out there that just, they need a family. So if you're really prone, you really want to be, a parent, it's just something that stirs that deep emotion within you, then it's something else to consider. Maybe that's why you were given those feelings and being deprived of actually producing one on your own for whatever reason. And I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just looking at possibilities here. It's hard to make something such as that into something that is less hurtful. I know. And I have nothing but the best for all of you guys out there, and that means for karmic and non-karmic alike. I wish you the very best out there. We're all on this journey together, and we all, end up going through the same things in terms of the end result is always going to result in death for all of us. But what you do between now and that point means everything, including how the next life, if that is to be in the cards for you, actually will look like. Some of us rack up a lot of karma, and then that karma may have to be paid off in a previous, or I should say, a future life, maybe several lives, depending on how much we're talking about. Now, not everybody believes in that. If you look at it from the Gnostic concept, they believe that whole concept of karma is an illusion as well, and that to follow with the light means following yourself back into the trap and put into this matrix loop yet again. That's a whole nother, discussion, and again, I do plan on making videos on all of these things. So, excuse me. Sorry about that. Alright, so with that being said, it's super windy out here. I mean, the wind is howling. I mean, there's thunder. And the rain was pouring down. I hear that's happening a lot, throughout right now. So a lot of people are experiencing these storms that are going on. We're definitely getting it where I live. So stay safe, stay warm, cozy, stay inside if you can, and just bundle up, make yourself some hot cocoa or whatever it is that, makes you feel good in this particular holiday season. And hopefully the next reading will be a little bit more positive. In the meantime, you guys all take care. Stay victorious. Someday we'll all meet in Valhalla. Take care.